What's up, everybody? It's Spencer with Stay Handy LA, and we're going to be looking at a brick and gutter repair job that I had to do. This brick got hit with a car and the gutter got smashed, so we're going to be doing a small repair job. There were two straps holding the downspout to the building, so I'm just taking the screws out of each strap, getting it loose, and slowly pulling the downspout off. Now I'm taking out the damaged strap along with the screw and anchor, and I'm cleaning out any loose debris. Next, I'm taking out my 4-inch grinder along with the diamond cutting blade to start cutting out the brick. This was my first time ever attempting to do this, and I will say I was extremely surprised at how easily and how well the diamond blade worked to cut into the mortar. It was cutting it like butter. There wasn't much resistance. And just to go over a price check, that diamond cutting blade was about $8 to $10 at Harbor Freight, and that's about a $45 grinder from Home Depot. My focus is to get as straight of a cut as I can, and also to go as deep as I can with that 4-inch cutting blade while not damaging the surrounding bricks, which would just cause more work for us. And now I have my mason chisel, and I'm going to start removing the damaged bricks. I can only laugh whenever I rewatch this video. I have it sped up right now, but in real time, I could just hear my dad in the background saying, "Well, why don't you just hit it with your purse, Sally?" Because I was definitely being very gentle with my taps. I guess out of fear of damaging the brick more. As you can see later in the video, I start getting a little bit more courage, and I skip the chisel and just use my hammer and start knocking stuff out. This building was built around the 70s, I believe, so I wasn't able to find an exact matching color for the brick. I was lucky enough to find the right size, which I didn't know at the time, but found out that these bricks are a little bit larger than your average brick. They're king size bricks. The average home brick has queen size bricks. So I was able to find the king size bricks in a close enough color that we were able to make do with. Remember, this is a maintenance job. This was somewhat of a patch, but we had to make it look the best we could. Now that I have all the big pieces of brick out of there, I'm going to use my mason chisel to just smooth out the rest of the brick. Each corner you see had a good amount of mortar in between it or stuck to it, so I'm just using the chisel to get that last little bit out, so whenever we go back to lay the brick, it's going to make it a lot smoother. Now we're going to start mixing our bag up. This is just normal quickcrete mortar mix. I realized from the jump that I put entirely too much water, but I just had to keep adding and adding to get the consistency to where I liked it. I was soon to find out that even the mixture that I thought was thick enough wasn't thick enough, and it made a big deal whenever I went to actually lay the brick. But hindsight's always 20/20, and you learn something on every job you do. Also, to all you pros out there, I know I'm using a paint mixer to mix this up, but I just used what was handy at the time. So don't be too harsh on me, boys. All right, I decided I like the consistency, and now we're going to start laying it. I watched a video on how to lay brick before I did this job, and I noticed that they would make the mortar almost into like a hill-like figure with a peak at the top before they laid the brick on it. And also, you do the same type of figure on the brick that you're laying, not just a flat surface, but on the brick that you're laying down. And also the trial set that I had was just like I think it was about $13 to $15 at Harbor Freight, and it came with 5 different size trials. I'll say that I mostly used the medium trial, and you'll see me start to use it. It's a small, thin trial that basically enables you to thin out your like mortar joints. Getting back to the mortar being a little bit too loose, the reason I found that out was, as you can see, it was wanting to fall off of my brick a lot. I feel like I got more of the stuff on the ground than I did on the actual brick. But going back, if I'd have made it a little bit thicker, I think it would have held better. Because whenever you're putting it on that brick, it's weighing it down, and then you're also having to maneuver the brick, so there's such a high chance that it's going to go flopping off. That small trowel was such a lifesaver. As you can see, it enables me to just push that stuff on top of that brick in there where I couldn't get the mortar in the brick. I'm able to just push it on in there, sink it back there, and it made this job a lot easier and look a lot better. Now we're putting in the last brick. Once we get it in there, I'm just going to start going around with my small trowel and trying to pretty up these mortar joints the best I can. Now I'm just going to clean up the work area before I hang this downspout. Just going to get all this extra brick and mortar out of our way. Alright, now we're going to measure and cut the downspout. I took a measurement on it. It was an 8-foot piece, so I just cut my new piece exactly that, 8 foot. This is a reenactment of me cutting it since my phone stopped recording. Now I'm going to pre-drill a hole for that damaged strap that we had to replace. I'm using a titanium bit, and I'm going to secure the strap with a regular concrete screw. Make sure to drill into a mortar joint and never into the brick. Now I'm reattaching the new downspout to the existing downspout, and I'm also going to be putting that 90 on at the bottom. And as you're about to see, this 90 gave me hell. It was extremely difficult to get on, and even though this thing is in fast forward, it still took entirely too long for me to get this thing on. And yes, I'm still struggling with it. And thank God I wasn't mic'd up, because I probably said every cuss word in the English language. Looking back, I shouldn't have taken an exact measurement on that downspout. I probably should have cut it 2 to 3 inches short, because as you can see, it's a very tight fit, and I'm having to try to shovel, which made no sense to do because there's a huge tree right there and that dirt was full of roots. I managed to get the downspout to the straps and up against the wall, but as you can see, that concrete piece almost flows upward a little bit. This job was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's rained a couple times since, and everything works fine. It works properly, but there is a small water puddle that stays at the mouth of that downspout. So it's not all the way to my liking, but it's not a big enough problem to go back and try to redo it. And the last thing I did was put a couple self-tappers to anchor the straps to our last piece. And this is a final look at our job. Overall, this is a pretty fun job. Definitely something a DIYer or first timer can do. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. And until the next time, stay handy.